Alright, I'm going to show you how to do custom ceiling planes using a molding on a soffit. And this is for architectural and suite. Pro, you don't need this because Pro has manual ceiling planes. And what I've done is I've created a molding in Chief Architect Premiere. It's really easy to do here. And it's basically something that's just sized to replace a ceiling plane or to represent a ceiling plane. And so if you look at a elevation or a section here in Suite, you can see I've got these two ceiling planes. And this would be for maybe you have a scissor truss. This is pretty typical where the roof is a steeper pitch than the interior, so you might have a scissor truss. And I've just been experimenting, so I've got a couple of different things. They're pretty much all the same. And this is the molding that I created in Premiere. You can just import that into the program. So if you right click this and open object, you can change the width. I wouldn't mess with the height, but you can change the width. You can also change the materials if you want to, but we're just gonna look at the width. And so I'm gonna cancel. And the width is basically from over here to over here. And then when you go into a interior view, you can see that this is the soffit that I've created, this little line over here, and this right here is the ceiling plane, or the molding in this case. So I can double click on that, and that opens up the soffit specification, and you can see that I've just made the soffit a 1/16 by 1/16. And I've adjusted the floor to bottom, which adjusts this over here. And if we look in plan, if you zoom in, you can see this dotted line. That's the soffit, so it's buried within the drywall up against the framing layer, and there's no magic to that. It just makes it easier to position the molding. Again, looking over here in elevation, if you zoom in, you can see this little bitty square right here. That's the soffit. And then here's the molding that sticks out. And you can see that it needs to be, in this position, it needs to be raised up maybe 1/8 of an inch. Really, that probably doesn't matter. I mean, that's a pretty small amount. But if you want it to be exact, you can just raise that up. So we can go, I think it's this side. We can just do plus 0.125. Okay. We'll go back over here. Zoom in. And now you can see that that's just a little bit too much. You can see that that molding is just above the bottom of the existing ceiling. But that's not something that's such a small amount, you'll never see that. The other thing I want to do here is I'm just gonna delete this for a minute, and you can see that when you have rooms in this configuration where you have no ceiling in this room, and then you have a room coming in from the side. You know, you've got a room coming in from the side like this. The way the program works is you're going to get this V-shaped notch cut out of this roof plane. And a lot of times you want to cover that up. So I'm going to Control Z to put that back. And then I'm going to make this molding instead of 30 inches, I'm going to make it 60 inches and say OK. And you can see that raised it up. Let's go back over here. You can see now I do need to move this down, so I'm going to go back here. I'm going to do minus a 1/16. You can see that's almost enough. You can see the original, this light colored ceiling, and you can see this molding. So I'm going to go, I don't know if it'll do a 30-second, but we'll do that just to see. It doesn't do anything. Okay, so there's your, you can see we're just a fraction of an inch below the original ceiling. And if we go up here to the top, we need to raise it up just a little bit. So go to moldings and make this 60 1/4 and see what that does. Looks like it needs just a little more than that, but that's pretty close. You know, you're not going to ever notice that in your model. And I would there's the soffit, and you can see the end of it is all the way over here, and the end of it's here. I'm going to drag this back over here. If possible, I would make it go wall to wall like this. And if you're in a room like this, of course, once you get one side where you want it, you can just copy the parameters over to this side. Or you can take there's the soffit on that side. I'm going to delete it. I'm just doing tab. I'm selecting the wall and then hitting tab, and that'll pick up the soffit. So the other thing I can do is copy it, and then paste in place. Spin it around. pump it up against this wall over here, and then I can zoom in, grab this end, grab this, and if we go back over here, then we ought to have a match between the two. It's a little bit of work, but once you get it going, once you've got your slope, your pitch adjusted the way you want it, nothing's coming through anywhere. You could actually copy, if you had more than one room to do, you can just copy that soffit, paste it over here, and then move it around wherever you want it, and it'll be the same.